Good afternoon. This is Patriotpapa's music review, and I am Rich Myers, aka Patriot Papa. Last night on Twitter, I noticed that just before I got off, it was later in the afternoon, late afternoon, early evening. I noticed that David Lee Roth had dropped a second Van Halen cover, and the first one that he did, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, Panama. I had not listened to it, but then I saw the new one, and the new one is Eight Talking About Love, and my first feeling is it's been 2 years since Ed passed. 2 years, September. Yes, we're in September. And we haven't had one one Ed Van Halen tribute. There was talk earlier this year that they were the group was in talks. Al was in talks with um, I think it was Steve Vai and Mike Anthony. Actually, originally it wasn't Mike Anthony. It was from Metallica, Jason Newsted, and then later Michael Anthony said that he'd been contacted, and did I say Steve Vai? It wasn't Steve Vai. It was Satriani, Joe Satriani, Joe Satriani, Jason Newsted, Michael Anthony, and Al, and they were trying to work something out, and kept moving on, really going nowhere. And then there was talk, possibly at the late stage of bringing in, maybe bringing Sammy in, but I don't know if that was just rumor or what. But then it's just done, and now we're seeing uh, Dave drop these, and I'm just gonna say these are my observations. My thoughts are this is typical Dave. Look at me. I'm David Lee Roth. I am the king. I am Van Halen. I am Van David Lee Roth. I am Van Halen. My opinion. This is Dave. And he wants, if I don't know if he plans on eventually getting together with Al and whoever to go on and do this tribute eventually whenever they get around to it. But the feeling that I'm getting is Dave wants the world to know that he wrote this music. This is David Lee Roth. And he is Van Halen. And I'm just gonna say when I look at this, that says Roth lives. Roth lives. Now, what's your first thought? People, Tell me. Comment down below. Comment in my Twitter. What's your first thought of what this is? What this is telling us? What Dave is telling us? He's saying. He's saying. Ed's gone. Ed's gone. But Dave lives. And Dave is Van Halen. So don't worry. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, David Lee Roth, Van Halen lives. David Lee Roth lives. Van Halen lives. Even if they never play together in any form ever again. Wolfgang has said unequivocally he doesn't want anything to do with a Van Halen reunion or tribute. Which I understand that, perfectly understand that. I'm sure he was very close to his dad, and it's very personal, and he understands that, what Van Halen means and what his father's legacy is. And Van Halen is at an L. Van Halen is at an Ed and L. And then Dave and Mike and Sammy. Now, Wolf came in later, um, but I don't think that he personally, that Wolf personally. I don't want to speak for Wolf, okay, but I'm just saying what I get. My feeling is he feels that's his dad and his uncle's legacy. Period, and that he was just, he was just a part of that. At one point in time, he was a part of that, and he enjoyed his time with his father, and and being a part of that most intimate part of his father's legacy and who he was, and his uncle Al, and I understand that. And if things go the way that I think they're going to go for Wolf, I think he's shown. He played bass when he was in Van Halen, but now that it's Mammoth VH, Wolf's band Mammoth VH, he's playing the guitar, and and what you heard was a more grunge, uh, you know, 90-ish and beyond influence. Nothing like Ed at all. Um, but then, then you have um, I'm trying to think of his last name, Taylor Hawkins. Okay. Foo Fighters and their drummer, Taylor Hawkins, who I thought was a monster. He was a monster drummer. I don't think that a lot of people knew him by name. Maybe Foo Fighters fans, maybe they were more connected to him, at least the ones that went to see the live shows. But I don't think that he that his name is anywhere in the league of any of the drummers that came before him, or especially even Dave Grohl, who plays guitar now. Excuse me. He played drums in Nirvana, and he plays guitar in Foo Fighters. But I don't begrudge Foo Fighters fans and Taylor Hawkins fans their tributes. He deserves whatever the fans and his bandmates feel that he deserves. Okay, and I think personally, I have never been a huge Foo Fighters fan. Their studio albums, there's some songs, there's some good songs, some listenable songs, and some that are pretty good. And probably, if I think about it, I mean, there's not much. What has there been put out over the last 20 years? And I would, yeah, I'd put them at the top of that. I'd put them at the top of that. Um, but where Foo Fighters kick ass on stage, their live shows are off the chain, and um, they all the band members show their influences, and they sing songs of from those people, those bands, and those artists that came from before them, and they do it better than anybody. Their live shows are awesome. And Taylor Hawkins drumming, I was thoroughly impressed with Taylor. Thoroughly impressed with Taylor. So, um, getting back on subject, I'm sort of covering all sorts of bases here. Wolf, as it pertains to Ed and Van Halen, and Wolf said he will never perform on stage a Van Halen song. Um, Now, after a couple weeks ago in the Taylor Hawkins tribute, and he clearly played several Van Halen songs, and he played his father's part, and people were just amazed. He is the chip off his old man. He's everything, and as I was saying, his star shines bright, and I know he's building his own path. But he played the songs that he said that he would never play on stage, and he did it for Taylor Hawkins and Foo Fighters. And then he comes off stage, and they question him about it, and he's as adamant as ever. He doesn't want to be asked that question. He's answered. He's you know he's not going to do it. So he did it. He did it with Taylor, but he's not going to do it anywhere else. He did it for Taylor, but he's not going to do it for anybody else. Respect, Wolf. Nothing but respect. And I want to say, I mentioned something online, um, on Twitter, where I said that it was time. It was time for a tribute. It was time for a tribute, and I linked Wolf in that in my thoughts. You know, if Dave doesn't want to, if he's not interested or he's got better things to do, you know, you have options. You got Al and you got Mike. Okay, so Dave is doing whatever he's doing. You can choose Sammy, but if you don't want, if for whatever reason you still don't want to deal with Sammy, there are plenty of people that you can deal with, and I've heard uh, others opine about who, like Mitch Malloy and Jeff Scott Soto. Jeff Scott Soto, he could do the Sammy stuff. Mitch could do the DLR, and Soto could do the Hagar stuff, or you could just have a free for all thing, like what they did for Freddie Mercury and Taylor, I think too. um, and just invite whoever wants to show up. Invite whoever wants to show up and surprise people. There are many top name musicians that were around in Ed's time, before Ed's time, after Ed's time, and now during Wolf's time, that would come out to pay their homage. And there are many very, very top of the line guitarists, great guitarists, that could come in and do it, and do his spot, and do it honorably, with respect. It's not going to be Ed. It's not going to be Ed, but it will be these musicians' tribute. Their How they feel what Ed gave, what they feel of that, and that would be cool. I mean, I remember the Freddie Mercury concert. That was that was another off the chain thing. I mean, that was a moment. That was a moment. Everybody still remembers that. Um, and they could do that for Ed. I just think it's time. But this David Lee Roth stuff, personally, personally, I think it's Dave saying, "I'm here. Ed's gone. I'm here, and I am Van Halen." So it's cool. That's my personal feeling. And no, that doesn't make me respect Dave. That in itself doesn't make I respect Dave for what he's done, what he did in Van Halen, and what he's done in his solo career. Uh, and I'm just gonna say, I did listen. I listened to both of these songs just over the last hour or so, and they're they're surprisingly good. Dave sounds good, and these are Dave's songs. Panama and Ain't Talking About Love. Uh, I would love to play. I would love to play these songs, but I don't know if it would. I don't know if it would ruin what I'm doing here. So, I mean, if it's copyrighted, they're going to shut the video down. But I'm going to play. I'm going to play. I don't know. What should I do? Panama or Ain't Talking About Love? Um, People have probably had some chance to hear Panama. So I think what I'll do, if I have to, I'll cut this off. I'll cut this off here in my studio thing if they perchance shut down because I play this. but I'm gonna play "Talking About Love," David Lee Roth, and I guess he's got, I don't know what, I think they said 13 or 14 tracks, Van Halen tracks that he's done, and these are two of those. I think it was 14. Um, I'm gonna play this, and then you be the judge. And like I said, if perchance YouTube shuts this down, I will cut this for YouTube, so that it won't have this on YouTube, and then I'll put the full cut over on Rumble, and I'll provide the links for them. You can hear in the intro here. I'll do it over again because I had the volume down, but the players in here, I'm gonna have to go look and see what it says, who's playing on these. But it sounds it's decent sounding. It's not it's not Ed, Al, and Mike, but it is, the people that are doing this are good musicians, and they pay it proper respect, and it sounds good. They're trying to stay to the formula. They're trying to stay to the formula, and it's very close, but it's different. I heard the news, baby. There we Dave's on. He sounds as good as he had over, the last however many years that he was on stage with Van Halen. Or better, they say that in the studio they didn't have to use any enhancements or anything to make it sound the way it should. So if you take them at their word, that Dave sounds pretty good. Dave sounds good, and it's not flat rip off of how it was done on the original VH album. It's a variation. It's, to me, I think they did it like as if they were performing it live. I think that's how it sounds to me. That they did it as if they were performing it live in the studio. Baby, in on the streets again. You
is there, baby. No time to mess around. So if you want it, got to wait for it, baby. You got to wait for it, baby. You got to. You got to wait for it, baby.
It's buffering. But let me go see if I can, or is it just an image? DavidLeeRoth.com. Let's see. It just brings me, it's the same one. It's not showing me anything but that. No playlists. We just had a power outage here too, so around 12:30 or so. Roth Project, the Roth Show. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Who's doing the guitar and bass and drums? But we'll finish that up. Wrong one. Jeez. That's the new Ozzy. But I'll leave it at that. And we'll see if I can get it up on YouTube. And yeah, see if I can get it up on YouTube with the video. If I can't, you'll find the entire video over at Rumble, and I'll have just my analysis.
5-finger death punch. Under and over it. Well, I'm so with Megadeth and